Sonic stood on the edge of the jagged cliff, his blue quills whipping violently in the cold wind. Below him, the city lights flickered like distant, unreachable stars. He tapped his foot incessantly, a blur of motion that never truly ceased, mirroring the restless energy trapped within his lonely soul. He remembered the meadows and the children who stopped inviting him. He was always too fast for their games, and eventually, too fast for their lives. He had retreated to these hills, running until his lungs burned, only to find the same deafening silence at the end of every path. Suddenly, a distant explosion rocked the valley, sending a plume of black smoke into the night sky. Sonic did not hesitate. He leaned forward, muscles coiled like a spring, and launched himself into a thunderous sprint. He was no longer running to escape his isolation. He was running toward the chaos. As the wind roared, he realized his speed was not a curse, but a tool. He hit the pavement as a blue streak, ready to face the flames. His journey of sacrifice had finally begun. Sonic stood alone in the dense forest until a sharp cry pierced the air. He darted forward, a blue blur tearing through the thicket. In a clearing, a small fox lay trapped under a jagged boulder, surrounded by circling mechanical drones with blinking red lights. Sonic smashed the drones in a burst of sparks and shoved the boulder aside. Tails tumbled out, trembling. Sonic held out a hand, and for the first time, he did not pull away. By the fire that night, Sonic's guard finally began to lower. Days of high-speed chases turned into a perfect rhythm. But as they approached the ruins of an ancient base, the ground beneath them began to glow with a haunting light. A massive energy field flickered to life, locking them into a cage of static. Sonic lunged at the barrier, but a violent electric pulse threw him back. He hit the ground hard, his speed useless against the wall of humming energy. The trap was absolute. Tails rushed to his side, pulling out a strange, glowing device. As the light flickered, Sonic realized their journey had changed. It was no longer just about being the fastest. Now, it was about survival, and they would face it together. A long shadow stretched across the pavement, blocking Sonic's path. Under the pale moonlight, a mysterious figure stood motionless. "The world will soon fall into darkness," the figure warned, his voice like ice. Sonic skidded to a halt, his sneakers scraping against the rough asphalt as he came to a sudden stop. Sonic crossed his arms and smirked. "Another villain looking for a fight?" he asked. The figure ignored the jab, pointing toward the horizon. "Eggman is building a machine that will level cities in seconds." Sonic just laughed, turning away and racing toward Tails' workshop. He dismissed the warning as a pathetic bluff. The next morning, the world broke. The power grid died instantly. Massive fires erupted in the forests, and robotic drones swarmed the sky, firing lethal lasers at the screaming streets below. Sonic stood on a high rooftop, watching the absolute chaos. He gripped the metal railing until his knuckles turned white. He checked his watch, but the signal from Tails was gone. Silence was his only answer. He looked back at the empty alleyway where the shadow had stood, realizing his mistake too late. Sonic sprinted toward the fire. This was no longer a game. His speed wasn't enough. The sky over Metal City burned a hellish red as Sonic sprinted across the crumbling bridge. Ahead, Eggman's robots swarmed like locusts. Sonic signaled to his team, hand raised for a coordinated strike. He trusted them with his life, never suspecting the nightmare ahead. As he lunged toward the main generator, the ground suddenly shifted. Thick titanium clamps erupted from the floor, locking his ankles in place with a bone-chilling snap. Sonic struggled, his blue quills scraping against cold metal. He looked back, expecting a rescue that would never come. Instead of help, he saw his allies standing still, their weapons pointed directly at his chest. Knuckles stepped forward, eyes fixed on the ground, tightening his grip on the console. Behind him, Tails lunged to break the lock, but a containment field slammed down, pinning the fox against the wall. A high-frequency hum filled the air as they activated the pulse emitter, draining the very energy from Sonic's legs. He tried to spin dash, but his body refused to obey. He collapsed to his knees, gasping as the machines tightened. The fastest hero alive couldn't move an inch. He stopped fighting the machines and simply stared at his friends, searching for a sign of regret. But there was only cold, calculated resolve. The chamber sealed, and silence followed. The ground cracked beneath Eggman's fortress as the core pulsed with a blinding violet light. Sonic stood at the edge of the intake vent, his fur singed by the heat. He knew the machine's barrier was impenetrable from the outside. This was the only way in. With a sharp nod to Tails, Sonic launched himself into the intake. The air inside hummed with lethal static. Every step forward felt like a hammer strike against his chest. He saw the central processor glowing red ahead, a beacon of mechanical malice. He had to reach it. He accelerated, his sneakers leaving trails of blue sparks against the cold floor. Tails shouted his name, a voice lost to the roaring engine. But Sonic didn't glance back. He reached the core and slammed both hands against the cooling pipes. The energy surged through his body, burning white-hot. He didn't pull away. He pushed his own kinetic force into the machine, forcing a violent feedback loop. Sonic gritted his teeth, his vision blurring as he poured every ounce of his life force into the blast. "This is it," he whispered. The core shattered. A massive shockwave blasted the fortress into scrap. When the dust settled, Sonic lay motionless. His blue fur had dulled to gray. He had saved the world, but his race had finally come to a permanent halt. The explosion swallowed everything, and Sonic vanished into the blinding light. The world mourned, then eventually forgot, as cities rose from the rubble and life moved forward. But Tails remained at the crash site. Each morning, he scanned the empty horizon for a sign. Each night, he swept the cold debris. Years passed in a heavy, suffocating silence that seemed like it would never end. One evening, the gray clouds finally tore open. A faint, rhythmic blue pulse flickered against the darkening sky. Tails dropped his wrench, the metal clattering against the stone, and sprinted toward the light. A figure stepped forward from the shadows, limping painfully across the cracked earth. It was him. It was Sonic. He moved with a heavy slowness, his fur matted, and his eyes weary from a long journey. He leaned against a jagged pillar, breathing heavily as Tails lunged forward to steady him. Sonic looked at his own trembling hands, then up at his friend. "I may have lost my speed," Sonic whispered, "but I never lost my promise." Sonic leaned his weight onto Tails for support, no longer the fastest thing alive, but alive nonetheless. Together, they turned away from the ruins and began the long, slow walk home.